Hello and a warm welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our weekend preview, and it's our Guineas special. It's the Guineas Festival beginning at Newmarket on Friday, running through to Sunday with the 2,000 guineas on Saturday and the 1,000 guineas on Sunday. We've also got Goodwood coming up. We won't be previewing Goodwood, but hopefully Jack and I will be on course at Goodwood this weekend. Really looking forward to this weekend, Jack. One of my favourite weeks. This feels like the start of the flat season right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think we're definitely getting rolling. But yeah, of course, when you see the 3-year-olds come out for the first classics of the season, it's a very exciting time, and hopefully we may be able to see a superstar or two.
Yeah, hopefully so. We'll be discussing the Guineas in good detail in just a second. We'll be previewing two races on the Friday, one race on the Saturday, which will be the 2,000 Guineas, and then two races on Sunday, which will include the 1,000 Guineas before getting our best bets elsewhere and naps. And we'll kick off on Friday then with the 150 at Newmarket, which is the Bet365 mile, obviously over a mile. This is the rescheduled race from Sandown, Group 2 event. And Native Trail is now in here. Wasn't in here initially when Sandown had the race, but it's the 5-4 favourite, last year's Guineas second. Light Infantry 7-2, Mutasabek is 4-1, Check and Challenge 7-1, and Imperial Fighter is 25-1. I mentioned there, Jack, the fact that we now have Native Trail in this race. We didn't have him in the race when we were previewing it for the meeting at Sandown. He looks like the most likely winner based on just that second in the 2,000 Guineas last year.
Yeah, 100%. He's tooth and three at Newmarket. He was second in the 2,000 guineas last year. He gave a good account over a mile and a quarter in the Coral Eclipse. He was beaten half a length behind Ferdinand and Mishrif that day, and of course was a bit disappointing in the Juddmonte. But look, he's still relatively lightly raced. There's still going to be more to come. He loves it at Newmarket. He's going to be able to handle the track as we've seen, and I think he probably just takes all the beating. Light Infantry, as I said on the last video, I fancied him for the Jacques Lemoyne, but I don't know if he's really worthy of a second favourite here, really. I think I know on ratings actually he's a pound better than Native Trail, but I think he's got it all to prove. Wouldn't be surprised if Imperial Fighter can run a big race, was third, obviously, in the Irish 2,000 Guineas. Disappointed last time out at Doncaster on heavy ground, but he may be able to bounce back on a quicker surface. So I think Native Trail will definitely take all the beating. I wouldn't be surprised for Imperial Fighter to outrun his odds.
There we go, one to outrun the odds. But yeah, I think Native Trail, Jack summed up really well there. The most likely winner. I think they now know this horse is a miler, just didn't quite get the 10 furlongs, did he? They might have another crack at it this season, another year older, but I just think he's an out-and-out miler. He could be very top class, and we know he can go well fresh. So I think based on that second in the Guineas last year, back over the course and distance, I think he's going to be a real tough nut to crack. And I think 5-4 might not be the worst price in the world. Let's move on to the next race we'll preview on the Friday, which is the 3:35 over a mile and a half. It's the Jockey Club Stakes, a Group 2 event. And West Wind Blows is the 6-4 favourite. Hurricane Lane is 13-8. I think that's far too short. Global Storm is 5-1. Outbox 14-1. And Jewel in My Crown is 28-1. West Wind Blows was in the pre-dollar, Jack, on Arc weekend behind the horse that we on that Sandown preview we slated in Junku, and is the 6-4 favourite. I think this is a poor price for this, but I also think Hurricane Lane's price is quite poor as well. I wasn't impressed at all. It looked like he was out of love with the game the last day. Whether he's going to come back to form, I don't know, but I wouldn't be taking 13-8. I actually think Global Storm is a bit of a price in here. I think 5-1 is a fair enough price. He ran the Dubai Gold Cup on his last start. Just 2 miles is too far for this horse, but prior to that he won a Group 2 out there over a mile and a half and did it really convincingly. He's a very talented horse in his day. I think I wouldn't be put off with the jockey bookings. I think James Dorr, especially on this weekend last year, he had an absolute worldie of a time, and I think he could go really well, Global Storm. I think he could actually be a horse that gets better for age. I know he's a 6-year-old, but I think he could be very talented. I wouldn't be taking either of the favourites. I'm really put off by their form, and I just think that Global Storm could be very strong. 5-1 might not be the worst price in the world. Jack, what did you make of Hurricane Lane's comeback run?
Oh, it was really disappointing, wasn't it? But look, I just think it's an absolute mess of a race. He's not exactly the 3-year-old who we saw finish third in the Arc, is he? Look, he could bounce back, but it definitely looks like a watching brief to me. They're trying the cheap pieces for the first time. West Wind Blows was ninth in the Derby, was staying on third in the pre-dollar. But for me, it's just a race to stay away from. I completely get the Global Storm angle coming dropping back to this trip. But look, I think Outbox is there as fourth favourite. It was 14-1 race at 103. I think it's an absolute mess of a race. I'll be sitting back and watching. I'm pretty sure that the cheap pieces will probably do the job, and Hurricane Lane will probably bounce back. But I wouldn't be putting any money on it, that's for sure.
Okay, yeah, no, not a race for Jack there. I'm going to take a small chance, a win bet on Global Storm in that race. I think he could just be, he could just outrun the odds of 5-1. Let's move on to the Saturday then. The one race we're going to look at on Saturday is the big one. It's the Kipco 2000 Guineas over a mile at 4:40 at Newmarket. It is Coronation Day, but for a lot of racing fans, we know it as 2000 Guineas Day. And August Rodin heads the market of 13-8. Little Big Bear is 11-2. The Aidan O'Brien horse is dominating the market. Chaldine is 13-2. Royal Scotsman 8-1. Sakir is also 8-1. 12-1 about the Godolphin horse, Silver Knot, and 20-1 and bigger the rest in here. Jack, I've gone through this race so many times in the past sort of 7 days and tried to see if there's a way that I could get the favourite beat here, but I think as a racing fan, we all seen the hype of this horse potentially be a Triple Crown horse. We all want to see him go and do this, and he could be a real special horse. And the market suggests that he's gone in the last 7 days from 7-2 into around 13-8 best price now. It probably is a little bit short, but he could just be too good.
Oh, Sam, come on. Let's have a day off here. A little bit too short. It's ridiculous. How is he 13-8? It's absolutely absurd.
Well,
like, it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
The Verton Futurity that he won, we know how good that race has been in recent years leading into this race. So many winners have gone from that race into a Guineas. And look, Ryan Moore's obviously aboard this horse is the pick, but that was going to be an obvious one. I don't know why people were debating whether he'd be on August Rodin or Little Big Bear. He was only going to be on August Rodin, wasn't he? I just think that what I say about the market, and I did say this to you a few weeks back, but I said that this is a race where you see a lot in the market that could end up being sprinters. The likes of Sakir, Noble Styles now found his price drifting out massively. Little Big Bear, another one who's probably going to be a 6 furlong horse. I think in a race like this, you want a horse that's going to get further than a mile. I think Little Big Bear, I'm not concerned that he might be a sprinter. I think he might get the mile, but I think he'd only just get the mile. And what I'm saying is I think you need a horse that can get further in a race like the Guineas. It's going to be strongly run. It always is the Guineas. And a horse that can get the Derby trip. We see so many horses go on from the Guineas to run in the Derby. I think it's just made for a horse like August Rodin. It's not a price I'll be taking now. I mean, fair play to the people that are on anti-post. I think the horse that you put up for the French Guineas on our anti-post preview, Jack, I think Silver Knot is definitely going to outrun his odds. I think 12-1, they've basically, from what I've heard, said they're going to skip but they're not going to go to the French 2000 and come here, which probably shows the ability of this horse. And the other one, I think, from the Newmarket Craven meeting, is Indestructible, is far too big. I think he'll come on loads to the run. He looks ultra keen in that race. If he could settle, he could be even better than the form suggests. And Carl Burke's been in fine form. He had a lovely winner with Cold Case at Ascot on Wednesday. I think he's got some nice horses. These Ammo Racing horses are all flying at the moment. I think Indestructible would be the each way angle with Silver Knot. I won't be taking the price on August Rodin, Jack, but I do hope he is too good, and I hope he does go and win it for racing.
No, I agree. I just think it's absolutely insane. Once again, we have a talking horse from Aidan O'Brien at 6-4, 13-8. Yes, he has the pedigree to back it up. It was on heavy ground. He does have something to prove with regards to the ground. I don't think that'll be too much of an issue, to be fair. Of course, Rhododendron is Dam. Her career best effort was when winning the Lockinge on quick ground, second in the 1,000 Guineas and the Oaks on good ground. But that being said, 6-4, look, you've got to look to get him beat. If he goes and wins well, fair play. He'll probably go on to win the Derby as well because he's bred to get further. But look, you can see him placing in 6-4, 13-8. It's just ludicrous in my opinion. Like, you can't at all say that's value. I think it's absolutely remarkable. For me, there's the two. Of course, Silver Knot, as you said, I just think he can't go unbacked at all at 12-1. Really reminds me of Caribas last year. Very quirky individual, hacked up in the Solario, hated the ground in the Champagne Stakes behind Chaldine, which was a little bit of a surprise, to be fair. But then, of course, got the better of Epictetus at Newmarket by a much smaller margin than August Rodin did. But at Keeneland, I think he was definitely on top of Victoria Road that day. Got a little bit unlucky on the inside, got headed there. I think he'll definitely be able to reverse the form with Victoria Road. I think he's one who's actually going slightly under the radar for the Guineas Derby double. I know it's about 50-1 for the double. Probably wouldn't get on that because I imagine they'd probably go to the French route instead over a mile and a quarter. But I think he'll be able to, of course, get the mile and a half going forward. I mean, his Dam did all of her winning at a mile and 4, mile 6, very versatile ground wise. She was a half sister to Postponed, who of course did all of his winning at middle distances. So I think he'll definitely get further than this. I think he's slightly going under the radar, as I say, and hopefully at 12-1 he'll be able to give a good account. The other is Royal Scotsman, who's about 8-1 at the moment. I think if the ground does stay very quick, I always thought he was a sprinter. He's bred to be a sprinter, but the way he was staying in the Dewhurst, I think you just have to give him a crack at this mile. If the ground is as quick as it could be, I think Royal Scotsman could actually run a big race. And just on that basis, I think he has to be in the picture as well. So the two for me, taking on Auguste Rodin, will be Royal Scotsman and Silver Knot.
Okay, yeah, no, I agree with the Silver Knot angle. I think it's absolutely perfect. I'm just not sure on Royal Scotsman. Never been a horse for some reason I've warmed to, even though he did win at Glorious Goodwood. But look, it's a really fascinating race. There are horses that definitely get further. I think one horse to definitely look out for who has good form is Dubai Mile. Maybe not for this race, but I think he's going to go probably for a race that the Johnsons like in the Dante and then go on to the Derby. He could be a live wire in the Derby, Dubai Mile, so he's one to watch in this race. But I'm going to be playing each way Silver Knot and Indestructible in the 2,000 guineas. Let's move on to Sunday then, and we'll start off with the Dahlia Stakes at 3 o'clock. It's 1 mile, 1 furlong, and with the Moonlight tops the market 7-2. Life in Motion coming over from France for the Andre Fabre team 4-1. Prosperous Voyage also 4-1. Al Hussein is 7-1. Via Sistina is 8-1. Double figures about the rest of them. Cool, where do we start? I suppose we have to discuss with the French horse and Andre Fabre's horse here, Jack, and you've got to respect anything that Fabre sends over for this meeting because he can send some good ones here.
Yeah, 100%. But look, she has a lot to prove in the ground, doesn't she? And on ratings as well. The Fabre sending it over probably means she's 2 points shorter than she probably should be on form. Of course, what she won the Prix Jacques Lafitte in decent style last time out, but she has a lot of questions to answer. It was a toss-up for me between Prosperous Voyage and With the Moonlight. With the Moonlight, of course, this Godolphin Globetrotter, as you see, was by no means disgrace when second to the Fillies and Mares Turf second in Italian, who was, of course, beaten by Tuesday in the Breeders' Cup. But I think Prosperous Voyage has to be the trip. Likes of the Newmarket, of course, one of the July courses at Falmouth on decent ground. Her last 2 runs are on good to soft ground, both out in France and at Newmarket. Didn't really like the give in the ground that day. It was, of course, 10th for Ascot in the Coronation, which was a really odd performance, but was second in the Guineas, of course, won the Falmouth, will like the decent ground, can handle Newmarket. So I think Prosperous Voyage you have to take against the French horse, especially, and I think With the Moonlight could probably be there or thereabouts.
We seem in agreement here. Prosperous Voyage is the one for me as well. Really good form, especially over this course. You've got to remember back in 2021, this horse ran in the Fillies Mile and finished in a really good race. Inspiral winning that, Prosperous Voyage second, and Cachet, who went on to win the Guineas the following year, was third in that race, and she's very talented. We've got to remember she won the Falmouth Stakes as well. I mean, she hits the line really hard over a mile. I think that the extra furlong might actually suit her. Bit of an unusual trip, the 1 mile, 1 furlong. But I think Prosperous Voyage is the one. I think Jack's completely right with the Andre Fabre horse, just a couple of points too short. Always will be the French horse coming over, especially from that stable and with that ownership. So, yeah, I'm going to take Prosperous Voyage. I think 4-1 might be a fair enough price, and I think she could go very close. On to the big one on Sunday then. Let's get into it. The 340 at Newmarket is the 1 mile Kipco 1,000 guinea stakes. Another Group 1. And Tahira tops the market at 5-2. Meditate is 9-2. Mama's Girl is 6-1. Remarquee is 7-1. Dream of Love 8-1. Morge 14-1. 16-1 about Lazoo and 25-1 and bigger the rest of them. We talked about Auguste Rodin being too short based on reputation and talk, Jack. Is this one too short in Tahira?
Yeah, I don't really know, to be fair. I think the last 1,000 guineas winner I had was Bilston Brook. That's how long ago I've been waiting to pick the winner up of the 1,000 guineas. I always find it an absolute mess. Tahira's, of course, the potential superstar, was seriously impressive on her 2 outings. Destroyed Meditate at the Curragh on soft ground. Has a little bit to prove on this ground. Probably not too much, but of course you got the fitness questions and whatnot. She was up in the air where she was going to go for a long time. Of course, put Remarquee up on our flat anti-post preview at a decent price. I think she has a lot of ability, but she was very, very green. I think 7-1 looks a little bit short to me. I was kind of looking through it. I don't really think Mum's Girl is all that special. I think Meditate's probably the first selection for me. She's as consistent as anything. She was very consistent as a 2-year-old. Was of course beaten by Tahira, but that was by no means disgrace. Then dropped back to 6 furlongs. were then beaten by Lazoo. I don't think Six Furlongs saw her to her best ability. Of course, won at Keelan in pretty comfortable style over the mile there in the juvenile fillies turf. If she's trained on, I think she's probably going to be bang there. She's 7-2. I think it's a backable price. I hope Remarquee can go well. But the one who I'm probably going to put up as the unexposed one is Stenton Glider, who was actually second to Remarquee last time out over 7 furlongs at Newbury. I think the step up to a mile will suit. Won at Chester last year, beating Propence by 2.5 lengths. Propence was 4-1 on that day and has since gone and won this year pretty comfortably. Is rated 85. I think Propence is quite a decent filly herself. So Stenton Glider did get the better of her, and hopefully she'll be able to take a step forward. She's about 25-1 at the moment, but I think she has a lot with the Irish Raiders. But hopefully Meditate will be 1 and Stenton Glider will be 2.
Yeah, I've the horse that you put up anti-post in Remarquee. I mean, after the race at Newbury, I did say to you, I said I can't see this horse winning at Guineas, but with the rain that could come down over the week, I mean, it's only going to suit Remarquee, and I think that's what you'd be relying on. If the rain did come, I think that price will shorten, and could even go close to being one of the favourites at the off, because I think the rain is just going to completely suit. I agree with Meditate. We both were quite impressed with Meditate at the Breeders' Cup. Both said that she's probably set a bar there with regards to the standard going into next season. I think she is top class. Tahir is a horse that, again, bit like August Rodin, too short to be backing on reputation, but another one where you'd love to see her win for racing and to prove how good some of the 3-year-olds that we've got are this season. So look, I am going to be taking Meditate. I think that's the one. I think just against the favourite, maybe even in the without market if you're that kind of player. But because like I say, here I hope is too good. It's not a race that I'm too excited about. I'm more excited about the 2,000 guineas, but I'm looking forward to watching the race. It's probably not a race I'm going to be betting big on, but I will be with Meditate. Will be my selection in the race. Well, Jet, you haven't got any selections. You said off there you haven't got any selections elsewhere, which is very rare.
I do actually have one.
He's found one during the show.
I actually just remembered he was out, to be fair, and Spin Arounds, of course, made the journey from the Gosdens, yeah, I know, to Kevin Philippart to 4. I've put up one Cliff horse so far the flat season, and Mad Dreams won at 18-1, so I think you can allow this one.
Wait, was it this weekend last year that it happened where I landed the nap with Crystal Estrella and Spin Around ran on the same card at Goodwood, or was it the one at the back end of May?
I think it was at the back end of May. Yeah, Crystal Estrella ran a great race as well the other day, finishing second. Somehow didn't get up under new owners. But Spin Around for Kellen Philippart to 4 is 4-1. The 5:20 tomorrow, the finale over a mile in a Class 3 handicap. I always thought he was probably a 95 rated horse on decent ground. Was of course beaten in a Class 4 handicap when the ground slightly got the better of him. He was drawn on the wrong side of Ascot when he was off a mark of 95. He's now dropped back to a mark of 90. He looks like he's been campaigned all wrong. Not that I'm a trainer, but I think back over a mile at Newmarket on decent ground. I think quick ground's his key. Dropping in grade to a Class 3. I know he's obviously come up in grade from Class 4 on the all-weather. I don't think he's an all-weather horse at all. I think he wants some quick ground. I think this will suit him down to a T. And Spin Around's a decent price at 4-1. If you're that way inclined, you can back him each way, but it's a 10-runner race. You're only getting 3 places. So I think a small win bet on Spin Around will probably be my nap of the week in the last race at Newmarket.
Good old Spin Around. I've got 2. I've got one from Goodwood and I've got one from Newmarket, both on Friday. And the one at Newmarket, now people are going to say you're only putting this up because you love this horse, and this is not true. And it's in the 3 o'clock there. It's a 7 furlong handicap, the Night Timber handicap. It's Class 2 event. And Darkness is 6-1 for the race, right? And the only reason I say this horse has had 2 runs already this season, okay? And all I'll say is it's been running on ground that's just not suitable. I was reading David O'Mara's stable tour came out today, and I sent it off to Jack, and this horse will appreciate quicker going. That's what the horse will have tomorrow. It'll be the quickest it's run on so far this season, 2 runs. They've said they're very talented, this horse. I think they're going to run it in big handicaps at Ascot and also at Glorious Goodwood at the Ames, and currently rated 87, so for something like the Victoria Cup in a couple of weeks would probably get into a race off 87 right at the bottom of the weights. But I think this horse could be, they're 7 furlongs over Newmarket Street. I think this could be perfect for Darkness. I think 6-1 is actually a good price. Showed a lot of promise on his first start. Last time out, it just didn't work, and that was last weekend. But I think 6-1's a fair price. So we'll be taking that. And the other one, which will be my nap, will come from tomorrow. And it's actually a horse that hasn't raced before, but it's from Goodwood in the opener. And it's a horse called Effendon at 11-4, currently best price. And it's for the Eve Johnson Horton stable. Charles Bishop takes the ride. Now, Eve Johnson Horton at the moment with 2-year-olds so far this season, 3 runners, 3 winners. She's on absolute fire with her 2-year-old. She had a really nice winner at Brighton yesterday with bobsleigh. And this horse could be very smart. Saxon Warrior Colt could be very, very exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing this horse. But over the 5 furlongs there at Goodwood, I think 11-4 might be a fair price. I think you might see a lot of money come for this horse. I think this could go off Av. But yeah, Eve Johnson Horton's 2-year-olds are absolutely flying. So I am going to be taking this. Not often that I probably nap up an unraced horse, but I think there could be a lot of talent with this horse, and especially with the form that Eve Johnson Horton's in with her 2-year-olds. But really looking forward to Goodwood and Newmarket over the weekend. Jack, if there was a best bet for you, who would it be potentially this weekend?
Probably going to be Spin Around, I'll say, in the finale tomorrow at Newmarket.
Oh, there we go. A couple for Newmarket. Well, Spin Around in Darkness. One definitely a cliff horse. The other one probably isn't a cliff horse, but has had a mention on the show before. Probably going to be some pictures, probably from Goodwood coming tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Really getting the season started up there, along with Newmarket. We're going to be back with you guys probably at the start of the week, because we'll have the Chester May meeting, which is a race that I absolutely love. Looking forward to looking through some of those group races. A lot of classic trials there, and obviously the Chester Cup as well, which Jack and I will get stuck into. So that'll be our next video. It'll be a feature video looking at the Chester May meeting. Let us know down in the comments though who you're going to be backing for the 1,000 and 2,000 guineas. Let us know what your double would be. We'd be intrigued to see them. Subscribe, like, share as always, and we will probably see you on Monday for our Chester May Festival preview.